we'll start as now. We'll start with a word of prayer. I think I'll say it, Father. You pray all the weekend, so I'll say a word. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for all the blessings that you bless us in our life. We thank you for the job we have, the country we have. And we ask that in this inquiry that we conducted since Tuesday, we have seen your work and your guidance, and we thank you. We ask that you continue that today, and we ask that the witnesses they will be presenting the evidence. We ask them that you give them, they openly, they can talk about the media role and impact in this country. We commit today and our lives to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. Okay. Okay, we'll start. I think we have looped yesterday. But it will be good. I think they're on schedule. But if you want to give some statement, you plug and keep. No, got them inside PNG. We can take inside PNG. Because yesterday we had but if you think that you have not given any evidence or some information that the committee should hear, you can always give. Okay. All right, good. Then we'll take inside PNG. Inside PNG, yeah? Okay. Is One Talk or Word Publishing here? Anyone from Word Publishing? One Talk newspaper? No. Can we reach out to the editor of One Talk newspaper if he can come? Anderson, please. Huh? No. Ask the Mana come. Okay. I forgot to ask him one question yesterday, and he went. So now I thought of the question I wanted to ask. Good morning, inside PNG. When you want to talk, you can press the button and talk. Okay, briefly, firstly, you will introduce yourself, and if you have a statement, a verbal statement you're ready to make, you can make, and we also accept written submissions too.
Good morning, Chair, member of the committee. Thank you so much for this opportunity for given to Inside PNG to present our submission. By way of introduction, my name is Kila Wani. I am currently the Managing Director of Inside PNG. To my right is Helen Seah. She is our online manager. To the left here is Cynthia Dimara, our editor. And at the end there is our legal advisor, Mr. Virabo, Charlie Virabo. We'd like to do, I'd like to read out the statement first,
Yes.
and then later do a formal submission, a written submission after the presentation. Inside PNG is a registered business under the Companies Act 1997. It's a mainstream online communications company that is a full member of the PNG Media Council. We are currently a 7-man team operating remotely with a main base in Port Moresby. As a newly established independent online news service, we are focused on stories that matter to Papua New Guineans, promoting transparency and upholding the highest standards of journalistic integrity in Papua New Guinea. Although the company is just 2 years old, we were established in 2022. Our most senior journalist experience spans over 30 years. Inside PNG was born of 24 journalists that were terminated in 2022 from one of the main newsrooms as a result of standing up against external interference into the editorial process in the newsroom. 24 media practitioners of that newsroom, MTV, as a result, lost our means of income, our bread and butter, and yet to this day continue to practice the craft independently. Due to the hardships and struggles to sustain ourselves, both individually as family-oriented Papua New Guineans and as an online service, in the last 2 years, we have not pursued justice from the wrongful termination from our previous employment. Nonetheless, we have and are continuing our craft, our passion through this craft. As a member of the PNG Media Council, we subscribe to the Media Council's Professional Code of Ethics. And like all our other mainstream colleague media houses, we do have our in-house policies such as editorial and online standard operating procedures. With our international partnerships, we have the added layer of dual vetting procedures and processes and international best practices that we have adopted in our work. Every piece of information that we publish is vetted and verified before it comes out. A bit of detail on our editorial process of Inside PNG. We operate as a team. We approach each and every story as a team. It involves daily online meetings, making use of platforms like WhatsApp, communicating, Signal. These editorial meetings discuss potential stories, followed by assignment of those stories or taskings. Stories then researched, written, and submitted to the team. Again, it's a team of 7, and we have each of these 7 members are well experienced from our previous employment. Again, like I said, over 30 years experience before publication. The way in which we identify stories through our editorial process, through an editorial process where newsworthiness, public interest, relevance, and timelines are considered. We also take into account the potential impact the story may have on the community or at the nation at large. On the, if there have been instances of mis and disinformation, we strive for accuracy through our editorial processes. There have been rare instances of misinformation and deliberate, however, disinformation, deliberate spread of false information has not been an issue with our organization. The Constitution of Papua New Guinea as envisioned by the CP's Constitutional Planning Committee, Chapter 5, and enshrined by it, gave Papua New Guinea a democratic state of government guided by the national goals and directive principles. Democracy demands a free press. In order for there to be a free press, the media independence must be protected. Although the freedom of expression, section 46, and right to information, section 51 in the Constitution are constitutional rights, they are not absolute but qualified per section 38 of the Constitution. And these qualifications are on the grounds of defense, public safety, public order, public welfare, public health, protection of children and persons under disability, reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. The key point to highlight is that any law, policy, code of conduct must be reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. Thus, policy or law that has the effect of restricting media freedom or independence is undemocratic. The right to freedom of expression and information is not without its parameters as set by the legal system. The Criminal Code Act of 1974 and civil lawsuits makes provision for slander, libel, defamation, etc. Whereas another example would be Cybercrimes Code Act 2016. Inside PNG prides itself of credibility and legitimacy. Hence, although Inside PNG uses social media platforms and we have a website as our main platform, to share its stories, it must not be confused with illegitimate Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn bloggers, commentators, etc., who are unregistered and unaccountable. Inside PNG, through reporting general news and investigative reporting, have adopted and invented our own unique vetting process through the use of technology, whereby the small team of 7 journalists vet all the news before publication. Through these internal vetting processes, apart from overarching legal regime, adopt the international norms of standards and standards of best practices, including the PNG Media Council Code of Ethics. Inside PNG also partners with domestic and international organizations to conduct investigative reporting. Through this process, and the report undergoes rigorous vetting process by a dual vetting system done by Inside PNG internal process and the partner agencies' vetting process to maintain credibility and legitimacy in the law. That is how Inside PNG self-regulates its journalists. Inside PNG approach to dealing with sensitive or controversial reports add another layer of vetting by seeking legal counsel or expert advice before proceeding. So if we have a story that we want to do on financial corruption, we approach financial experts in the area. If there's a story that we want to do on corruption in the area of law, we approach legal experts in the area. As I've mentioned earlier, Inside PNG has not had any instances of misinformation or disinformation, perhaps due to the infancy stage of the company. However, Inside PNG does take the issues of misinformation serious, owing to the goodwill or reputation of the the company to present factual and accurate reports in a timely manner. If an instance of misinformation occurs, internal disciplinary process should commence by either a warning or on record or reprimand, depending on the gravity of the situation. Dismissal from employment or suspension may be of last resort. If, however, there is a proven instance of disinformation, Inside PNG maintains a zero tolerance policy and would result in termination. With the advent of social media and rapidly changing technology, newsrooms have to adapt. Inside PNG has opted to take an online news because that is the global growing trend that reaches the widest audience compared to conventional TV newsrooms, some of which are no longer free to air. The global trend is that TV is now evolving into digital media. The use of social media platforms, Facebook, etc., are shared by online journalism and regular social media users. However, there is a stark difference between the online journalism and regular social media users who are unregistered nor endorsed by the Media Council. The study of the Lowy Institute that social media users are the cause of most misinformation and disinformation. This is the area that needs more awareness due to the apparent ignorance by the Papua New Guinean populace. The Papua New Guinea Media Council, registered association under the Companies Act, is not an industrial organization under the Industrial Organizations Act. Its functions are governed, its constitution under the Act consented by its registered members. Under the current regime, the Media Council protects the interests of media houses but cannot effectively protect the journalists, content creators, cameramen, and relies heavily on the media houses to hold employees to account, due to the fact that the primary registration is received from media houses and not the individual journalist. Some of our recommendations from in our written submission include: Inside PNG echoes the sentiment of the PNG Media Council that there needs to be a media policy and a policy that promotes media independence and freedom. However, Inside PNG also seeks to accommodate the government's interest in this delicate balancing act between the state policy and universal democratic principles. The question before the Parliamentary Committee on Communications as Inside PNG is viewed as not whether there should be a media policy, but who should formulate the policy and how should it be implemented. Inside PNG concurs that the media development policy should be driven by the Media Council as an independent representative of the industry. By legislating, the Parliament creates structures. The media development policy structures places the Media Council under the ICT that may result in unintended consequences. Media Council is financially incapacitated and lacks jurisdiction due to lack of mechanism or overarching the profession of journalism and creative industries. The attempt by the development policy is to expand DICT mandate by having jurisdiction of Media Council through regulation and registration. It is Inside PNG's position that this takes away the media freedom by regulation. Therefore, Inside PNG recommends instead the Media Council be empowered by enacted legislation as a society to accredit journalists, govern discipline, set minimum standards of welfare, and raise funds to registration, etc., conducting training. The committee, as mandatory requirement, must have a state representative as a member. Thank you.
Thank you. Good statement. You'll submit together with any other submissions based on the terms of this inquiry, TOR.
Yes.
Okay, we'll begin the inquiry. Hogan, will you want to go first? Maybe take some questions. This way.
Okay, good morning in PNG. Thank you so much for coming along and contribute, especially it's an important work of the government to continue to guide citizens, especially media organizations, to disseminate information across the country to the citizens of the nation. So thank you so much for your beautiful presentation. Thank you. That's a good one. Okay. Just a few questions I'd like to get as a way of getting more insight or information. You're building towards what the purpose we are here for. Okay. So once again, thank you so much for your time and with us here. Okay. Okay. What are the measures in place to prevent publication of misinformation and disinformation by Inside PNG? The measures you take, okay, to prevent publication of mis and disinformations.
Thank you for that question. As I mentioned in the presentation, we have a vetting process that helps us or helps to mitigate the instances of mis and disinformation. As a young company, 2 years old, we are yet to have any complaints with regards to our reporting on mis and disinformation. But our vetting process, basically the structure starts with, it's a very rigorous process, before a story is selected to be worked on. It goes through a pitch, so the process basically starts from a pitch document. When we decide on taking up a story, or if a journalist decides to take on a story, they fill in a pitch document, and that document sort of sets out the levels of scrutiny the story must reach or meet before it passes as a story that can be worked on. So first and foremost, the initial research done around the story. And then the second part of it is source identification, the background, and then the third part of it is fact-checking on stories or information relating to the topic that we want to work on. And then after working on collecting all the information, we have when we engage experts in the area, if need be, and then we do risk assessment, and then at the end of all of that, there's monitoring and reporting on that particular story. So by setting out this vetting process, it cuts away any chance of or disinformation. So that's how we regulate or screen stories that may give us away.
Yes, thank you so much. Second question around the sensitivity of the issues. Okay. How does inside the PNG handle sensitive topics in the terms of editorial decision making, dealing with sensitive topics or issues coming into your room? How do you handle it? Sensitive, yeah. Particularly like political issues coming is one of the sensitive issues, political horse riding and all that, and maybe other topics involving taking of a life away or something. Yeah, sensitivity. Yeah. Back to you.
Okay. Inside PNG has the luxury of time on our hands, unlike our media colleagues who have a deadline to meet. So we have that advantage on our hands. So before any story is published, we have enough time to go through every line and see that it is correct. That's how we also regulate in terms of mis and disinformation.
For sensitive issues, we also consider, like and we mentioned earlier, we have a thorough vetting process, but we are mindful of culture,
Yes.
The politics around it. So we take into consideration all the issues that will have an impact on the sensitive issue that we want to publish. So all that we take into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Third question. How does inside PNG manage conflict of interest to maintain independence of its news reporting? Okay, once again, how does this inside the PNG manage a conflict of interest? To maintain independence of its news reporting.
Conflict of interest, if I may understand from your question.
Yeah, how do you manage it, the conflict of interest?
Like every other newsroom, if a journalist working on that particular story is connected to that story one way in any shape or form,
Yes.
they make the declaration and the story is passed on to the next journalist to work on. Otherwise, if we feel that the connection so yes, the story is passed on to the next journalist to work on. And if we feel that the team is also one way or another in any shape or form connected to that story, we drop the story completely.
Yes, thank you. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, interesting organization. So you actually break away from MTV and start your own company.
That's right.
You have a vendetta against MTV or something?
Nothing personal, we just love our craft.
Good. All right, so I just want to understand your business model. Like you're an online platform. I mean, you're an online platform, is it, the news article? You have a publication or a video channel or something, or just online publishing?
We are an online media news service. We have social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all the others. But our primary platform is the website. We have a website that we channel all our publications to.
Okay, PNG Loop is also an online publishing channel, but it has a backing of the digital behind it. But I want to understand how do you finance your what is your business model? You sell your articles to some organizations, or just what would be your main source of revenue for your business?
So we plan to monetize our online or seek advertisement on our. But at the moment, we work with partners on projects. It's either NGOs or donor partners that help us to. We work along with projects that we have, and that's the source of funding that we have to
Okay,
carry out our work.
So your partners are your business partners, or they have some agenda for you to pursue, or why do they fund you?
It's important issues that affect the country. Say, I'll give you an example. When we walked out, or when we were terminated, this was leading up to the election. We wanted to cover the election, and we were able to get a bit of funding through UN to do our job around women parliamentarians, that sort of scenario. So we were able to publish stories. We came out of TV, so we were able to do video packages and push into on our platform, showing women who were standing up in the election. So that's the kind of issues that we pursue.
I think why I'm getting this is because media is self-regulating. So we also want it to be remain that people, organizations, they can, like yesterday ask National, is RH influencing some of your news articles? Because RH is funding National. Likewise, the Post Korea. So that's the angle I'm pushing, because we want to maintain the media integrity of the media itself. So that's my concern. And it's not nothing against anything, but I want to see where is your support coming from if you are not making money out of your articles. So, but that you have mentioned it. That's good. All right. You claim to be investigative journalist. As an investigative reporting company or something, media company. I'm correct. Presume not correct.
Yes, we are general news, media and online news, and we like to venture into investigative journalism, yes.
Okay. So how often is there, like for a print media, they have a daily time they come out and print, weekly they have a weekday to print news, they have a TV, they have a time frame to print. Do you have a specific time frame, a regular sort of time frame that you come out and publish your news investigative reporting?
We, as MD mentioned, we do general news as well as investigation. So investigation takes a longer time to when we are sourcing information. So we push out all our general stories of interest to the country, and then while in the background we're also working on our investigative report. So when we have that, and when we are satisfied that we have met all the or we have fact-checked all our information, that's when we publish. Like was mentioned earlier, there's no time frame. So we as soon as we have and we are satisfied, that's when we publish. And it's agreed by all members. Everybody, all members are looking at the document that we have, and we are satisfied, then we publish. That's how we operate.
So far, since in your operation, how many documents have you published? And how many investigative reports have you published?
We have so far published 3 stories, 3 main stories, and that then the time it took to put up those stories, one of the stories was more than 8 months. The previous story over less than a year, so 9 to 10 months. So the time into investigative stories, we don't put a deadline to it. We work until we feel that the story can stand in court. Every line of that publication can stand in court, then we run the story.
So you operate for 2 years, but you only publish 3 stories.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good. How do you publish, on the website or on TV or on newspaper? Or?
As mentioned, our primary platform is the website, and then we link to all our social media platforms.
Would publishing, like a newspaper sort of thing would be a good medium for you guys to put your stories out? Because we want to reach out all to everybody in the country should know about this, but not everyone is connected to your social media platforms. I'm just asking, would it be a good option for you guys?
This is the digital age. So for looking to the future, online is where that is where everybody is heading. So we feel that we are publishing online, and as we said, we're 2 years old. We'd like to continue and build from there.
Okay, so you don't have any business plan on thinking of owning a daily paper or something, weekly paper or something? I'm just asking, like, you're a business owner.
No, not currently. We don't have plans to get into the traditional business. We want to maintain our online presence. As she mentioned, the global is online. The trend is now online. So we believe that in the near future, our following will grow because of the nature of the work that we're doing.
So then you'll be able to monetize your articles.
Yes.
Okay. Who are your partners? Business partners?
Our partner organizations include international media outlets, journalism networks, international journalism networks, non-government organizations, and academic institutions. These partners are based on shared values of the journalistic integrity, especially in the space and the pursuit of truth.
Okay, when you do a submission, include the details of your partners as well. Now, you mentioned about the vetting process that it goes through. Is that process documented? Or is it something like a unwritten code or something?
This is a documented process that we follow within, it's an in-house policy that we work with. Yes.
Okay. We would also need a copy of your vetting process. Now, so the vetting process enables you to control misinformation, disinformation.
Yes.
Thank you. What about media freedom in this country? What do you think? Is media free in this country? Think carefully before you answer this question. is is media really free in your space? Do you think media is free in this country?
I would say that in past years, after independence leading up, before on social media, I think Papua New Guinea had a vibrant free media. I would say, leading up to in the last 10 years, that freedom is slowly eroding, I would say, because of what happened to the team at MTV. The interference in the newsroom led to our termination. I was suspended as head of news. My team argued for my reinstatement. And in that period that I was suspended, there was harassment, there was intimidation. They could not function as a newsroom to the point that they walked off their jobs. So we are this example of this freedom that, I would say it's not, it's eroding. And if we are not careful, then, I feel that this sort of forum will probably help us to do better.
Thank you. Let's dig deep into this. MTV, was it owned by, who owns MTV at the time?
MTV is a subsidiary of Telecom.
So Telecom, the PNG government owns.
The PNG government owns.
Who actually direct and interfere in that? What was the story about? I'm curious to know what was the story about and why the suppression of that story.
So we were back then in 2022. We were following a story on a convicted drug dealer.
Ah.
And so this person did good, as well as had community work that he did, but he was also
Involved in the drug.
Involved with drugs. So we were seeing two sides of this person, and we wanted to investigate more, but we were told not to follow the story. We were told to drop the story. We did not drop the story. We continued, and that led to my suspension for insubordination. And what the company claimed was damaging the company's reputation, because we were publishing stories that said this person did community work. My argument is that it is part of our investigation, and we'd like to continue. So that's the story behind our.
Thank you. Would you be able to submit a full report of that incident? I think it's on the media, but it would be good to get inner details of the story, because it affects the media freedom. When the owner of your media company come and interfere with the running of the stories. So it will be a good evidence if you can submit it also.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay. What about your current your job, your current insight? Do you have any experience in terms of freedom of information? I mean, freedom of media. It affects the freedom of media in your experience. as the insight, not as your previous role, but current role?
In the investigative work that we are doing, where Neville, I think the president of Media Council mentioned yesterday, there were threats. In fact, it was not threat, but it was a warning to us about the stories that investigative stories that we follow. It was a warning that be careful who you're dealing with. So in that instance, so we are mindful of the risks that we're taking to do investigative reporting.
Yeah, okay. What about you submit that particular risk as well and the story related to that too as part of your evidence to this committee? What about other effects of media apart from some other media organizations mentioned about freedom of information, the right to information? What do you think about it? Does it affect media freedom?
Through the nature of our work, in trying to collect information to assist in forming our or scripting up our story, we've found or come across some challenges in trying to get those information. And when we come to a certain challenge or a point, we're asked to provide written documentation from as a way to access certain information. And then in one of our stories, we quoted from the Constitution, I think section 51, right to information, to access those information to which apparently which is public information, but certain officers decide that that's not public when we are trying to get those information. So yes, there are challenges in trying to access information when doing investigative work, which also adds to the time and the resources that we spend in trying to formulate the script or the end story.
Okay, thank you. That is being taken note of. Just one final question. With relate to journalism, what do you think about the standard of our journalism? I mean, you have created, you are senior guys in the, I mean, senior. You work from MTV and then you join your own form your own company. But what do you think about our graduates coming out from our journalism school? We have hope in them? What's the future of journalism in this country?
I think from the previous 2 days and what the Media Council president said, there must be funding for the universities so that, and especially the journalism trend. I feel in the past, they had the newspaper, the uni newspaper, which is published by the journalism students. They also had Campus FM. We question why they do not function, because this is helping the upcoming journalists to practice their craft while still at the university. So more funding should go to help the universities so that they are practicing while they're still. And also, investigative journalism should be a major component of that, so that they're coming into the industry, they are equipped to be able to do their work.
That's a very good recommendation. What about, you mentioned about investigative reporting. Do you know, you said you don't have right to information. Do you know that there is source of information that you can have access to? Do you have access to the budget, PNG government budget every time they pass?
Yes, we do.
Do you have access to the Auditor General, Office of Auditor General's information they published?
Yes.
Do you have access to the reports, every reports they tabled in Parliament, it becomes the public document. Do you have access to it?
Yes.
Okay, so there's some other information apart from that you want access to.
That's correct.
Honorable Chairman, if I may add to the discussion on the right to information. The right to information is exercised by many democracies, do have a commission of information where the journalist or any private personnel can request the commission to assist them with providing that information. In Papua New Guinea, that provision under the Constitution has not been developed in legislation or policy. As journalists, and practically speaking, being part of a journalist company, I mean, practically speaking, many public officers are very reluctant when it comes to speaking with journalists, and especially when it comes to investigations. So when it comes to investigations, it's not only what information you require and what you want to get, but it's how you obtain that information that determines whether the case, whether you are building a case that can be successfully prosecuted or not. And that's why it is very important that organizations like Inside PNG be empowered by such provisions under the Constitution and by enactment through the parliamentary system.
Okay, thank you. We'll just take the note that we'll have a final inquiry in POM again. That when we'll bring the relevant organization which is looking after that particular section of law legislation, so we can ask about the right to information and what they're doing about it. Hopefully that should answer some of the questions, mainly that questions. Any other impacts that you think is causing media from our rank to drop from 40 to 90 or something? That, yeah.
I think it is also with the termination of, it is the whole newsroom, and it was global news, and it was also on the radar of International Federation of Journalists, who called for my reinstatement back then. So this is the international community looking at PNG and what it is doing that I would say contributed to our ranking on the.
Okay, thank you. Any final comments you want to add before we close? If we need any information from you guys, we'll ask and you can come for the final inquiry. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, yes.
Okay. Now what's the next? Yes, social media influences. The truly sense of unregulated media. Do we have social media influences here? Mr. Samson Komati? No kata. Miss Noel Anzo, Cabbage King. Welcome, Cabbage King, guys. Please, take the seat, take the witness seat. Good. Can you take this front seat so we can see face to face and yes, this one. Thank you. Huh? Oh, and Father Ambrose. Okay, good. I will have to give him. This is a social media account, but well, later he'll introduce himself and we'll take a seat, please, Father. Mr. Joseph Yaldona. Is he here? Okay. Oh, please. You should, it should be Eladona. Yes. Sorry for the wrong pronunciation.
Chairman, I had to ask if it's me or someone.
Yeah. So I saw you and the name is different, so I was wondering. Okay, thank you for taking it. You guys from the different categories. He's social media influencer, but you from the media stakeholders. So we'll try to limit questions to your different areas of experience, your background, so that could help us. We go with you guys firstly introducing yourself, your name, and which organization you represent or your background, and then if you have some opening remarks to these inquiries, you can make one kind. Your name. We all know you by Kebis Ging, but your real name, and if you have anything, opening remarks to this inquiry, you can mention, and also to senior Mr. Eladona. Thank you. We go with your father first.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Honorable Marsh, Chairman, and the committee, as well as all the others present here. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I'm Father Ambrose Pereira. I'm attached to Don Bosco Technical School, Gabutu. So I'm a Salesian of Don Bosco, as well as connected with social media or media, and I'm coordinating the media for our Vice Province. So when we talk of Vice Province, our schools here in Papua New Guinea, as well as in Solomon Island, and then I coordinate also the region where we have houses or provinces right from China down to Australia. So that's my connection with the media. I've been in Papua New Guinea since 2016, but in the Pacific, Solomon Islands from 1999. And that's where I was also connected with media. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, honorable ministers. As you all know, my name is Emmanuel TV. That's my government name. Now everyone knows. But I go by Cabbage.
What's your government name again?
Emmanuel TV.
Emmanuel TV.
Yes.
Okay.
And I go by Cabbage Gang, and I'm on social media only, so I can't. That was really tough for me to follow. But thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Joseph Eladona. So like I said, I had to double check whether that was me one day here. So I don't belong to the social media group. I think I belong to the public, but my background is in journalism and mostly with the National Broadcasting Corporation.
Yeah. Thank you. But I will go if you will start with is another father too.
Thank you.
Sorry, for this media inquiry, especially what's the impact of the media in Papua New Guinea. So thank you so much, Father, and the others. Thank you so much for your time with us here. I think we'd like to welcome you, and we'll go into questions so that we work from there. Okay. I think general across three of you would like to present this, so you can answer it from your background and where you are coming from. Okay. I think first question: how do you define the term disinformation and misinformation in the context of social media and digital context? Sorry. How do you define the term disinformation, misinformation in the context of social media? Father, can you start, please?
Thank you once again. It was wonderful to listen. Yesterday, I just came in for a brief time, and this morning, and it was wonderful to hear the statement. Most of the misinformation and disinformation is because of social media, and it comes across to us. How do we understand misinformation and disinformation? The moment it goes against the truth, that's disinformation, misinformation, and it circulates in different ways, and social media fans the flames of disinformation and misinformation and malinformation. Thank you.
Good. To the next question, yes, same question.
Sorry, I think I have a similar type of answer as him, so.
But let me. MLTV, thank you. We brought you in here not to blame you for anything. We are not a judge or jury or anything. We represent the people of Papua New Guinea, and because now you are in this country, in terms of social media influence, you have the highest following, the very biggest, highest following. So that's why the Parliament recognized you as a social media influencer. So that's why we brought you in, not to put you on a spot or something, but for you to freely give some information, so that can help us to in terms of formulate doing some recommendation to the Parliament. But you represent a very big following now in terms of social media influence. That's why we recognize you. Instead of bringing everyone in, we pick the top one and we bring in just to give you just to give you some comfort that there is nothing to you won't be prosecuted or reported or anything. This is nothing of such. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, second question, I'd like to put across three of very important persons here in our audience this morning. In your opinion, what role do social media influences play in spreading or combating disinformation and misinformation in Papua New Guinea? In your opinion, what role do social media influences play in spreading or combating disinformation and misinformation in Papua New Guinea? Father?
I think we need to take a little step behind, okay? And so social media involves the sharing of information using digital devices. So it's not the digital device that is important or the latest gadget that is important, but the person who is using that device and sending out the information. And here comes what we have been also talking about, the change in the media landscape with user-generated content. So every person is generating content. It's not merely a one-way street. It's moving in different directions. And so, who is this person? What content are they generating? And is it true? Now that is the need for every person to be well-formed, to have an ethical basis, and then issue content. And so the formation of minds and hearts is important. And so while we are talking about journalism and universities, and there was quite a lot of quest to say we need more funding in universities, I think we need to take a step backwards. What about our young people who are generating content? What about our students? This morning as I was coming in, I received a message. Please check Facebook. There is going to be a conflict between Don Bosco and De La Salle today. Inform the relevant authorities that this doesn't take place. Now this is content on media. It's only going to fan the flames of violence. What are we about? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, personally, unlike the people who came after us, before us, sorry, we are not a news agent, so what we do is just content creation. So we basically make videos in ways that it would educate people while have a sense of humor involved and to a degree, yeah. So I'll try answer some of the questions you guys throw at us to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Firstly, I have to declare my interest. I'm also the first secretary to the Minister for ICT. So, but I speak here as an individual, private person, and somebody with a background in media, a long, wide background. So, firstly, I just want to thank the inquiry. It's welcoming, and I think the media industry definitely need it. The country is going through huge changes in our media landscape, and I think our media people said it yesterday. They said it very well. We must commend all the media people for the hard work they do and the little remuneration they get. And I think the welfare of media people is very critical, and I'm happy that the inquiry is taking place now. Also on the government side, the review is going on. I'll speak on that later. But on the social media, the media people spoke yesterday, and you've been informed, the public is being informed that there is a rigorous vetting process before things go on, and that's traditional. In the NBC, maybe Corano said it the other time, but I came through that system as a career journalist to the head of news and current affairs to the managing director. So for the NBC, I'm well vested. Just on social media, I'm not a social media person, but speaking on the journalistic, the ethics side of it, I really think that we need to manage social media. It is impacting on credibility of information, if I may say that. So in your job now, one of the critical things, and which I think the department ICT is doing, is to seriously review the freedom of social media. I always say social media is like before when we didn't have this thing. So you may stop Anil Diva and a story about. Now we have that area where we are just talking. And a lot of it is misinformation. It's not the app, or it's not the social media, it's we, the people. And I truly think that we must manage it somewhere. It is disturbing. It is affecting social fabric of this country and society worldwide. And as we go into it, good plan law, we seriously look into it because many of them are just false information. Many of them, there are good information going out, which we should use further to talk learn. But otherwise, people just talk, and we mislead a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair? Yeah.
Thank you. With interest of time, we'll just. There's some reason why we call you guys for inquiry, especially Farah and both of you. So I'll just draw into that part, and you can give me. You came out in the media last time, and you mentioned about media literacy needed in curriculum. So this is the part that interests me. So can you elaborate on that, and can you provide some context to that?
Thank you, Honorable. First of all, let's just take a look at this social media. No? Social media is a business platform. We are paying for it. We think we are connected socially, but we are paying for it. The small connection is just 3 to 5%, and yet we say social media connects people, but it's originally meant to be a business platform. It involves the sending of messages, but then it involves also a feedback. Social media involves the amplifying of voices at the level of the grassroots. So if we are talking of communication, are we listening to the grassroots? Now we are talking about communication, and I would like to add on communication for social change. Communication for social change can only happen positively if there is the voices of the people at the grassroots heard? Are we giving them a chance to express themselves on issues that matter? And ultimately, can these voices be amplified through the media to bring about a change? And we talk about policy change at the level of government, and that is social change. Now, it's a long-term process, but it has to start. If not, it is only top-heavy and looking downward. So, what is the objective of all media? And the objective of all media is to inform, to educate, to entertain. As a Catholic Church, we have included the next one, which is to inspire. Journalism takes on what is happening, reporting, information, perhaps entertainment, education. But if there's going to be change, it has to be inspirational. It has to be reflective. I think yesterday when One Talk was speaking, they were speaking about feature articles, but from a reflective point of view, and that's my quest. How can we reflect? Now, the reflection brings about a transformation. The transformation happens, first of all, in the person who reports it, and then brings about a transformation in society, and finally, the transformation will bring about social change. Long process, but I think that's what we are about. If you don't want anything to happen, do not become a journalist. But if you want something to happen and you're passionate, and it was wonderful to hear, we are passionate about our craft, and so we are here. And we are passionate because we want to inspire. We want to bring about a change. We want to see change happen. And we want to see change happen in our homes, in our societies, in our country. I'm from a parish that's in the settlement. Sabama. People don't want to go there. It's violence, it's drugs, and you say Sabama and say, no, we are not coming there. But yesterday I was just speaking to them, and it's wonderful that young people have, in a way, brought about a change in the sense we have an oratory, they are there ready to serve. We had the SALT program, and the boys were doing a task with minimum equipment and minimum safety, but they brought about a change. The drain that was perhaps clogged for years on end, and it's the task of NCD to do, they managed to at least get a little through so that the water flows below rather than on the road, and the road is dry. Now that's a miracle, that's a change. Hopefully it will snowball. But when you're in a community with a mindset that is so violent, sadly, you are drawn into the violence. Okay, background. I'm just trying to take on media education, and we've been having media education since 2017, but it's a small group of 5 or 6 together with an animator from schools. This year we've got 12 institutions. We finished 4 weekends, 1 overnight, and we are looking forward to the next one. And finally, we are looking forward to also a media presentation at Vision City on the theme.
Would you think stick on the subject of curriculum in terms of
media literacy? So media literacy ought to be part of curriculum in schools. Okay, it provides tools to help students develop capability to analyze, to critically analyze messages, offers opportunities for learners to broaden their own experience of the media, and helps them develop critical skills in making their own media messages. It helps them understand propaganda, censorship, bias in news that affect information that is presented. Consequently, they deal with misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation.
When do you think in the students' lives should
it has to start right along. Year
1,
8,
huh?
at least minimum year 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, before they go in. We are focusing on journalism in university. Can we not start earlier? Some of the schools in other countries would have that.
But would Catholic Church be leading leading this in coming up with a media curriculum?
So it will depend and vary from one country to the other. But for me, Cygnus is the World Catholic Association for Communication, World Catholic Association for Communication at the level of the church. Pacific, and I was a member of it, I'm still a member. Media education, media literacy is part of it, and I developed it from there. And I'm trying to link it up, but unless the government and the education can say, yes, this is something relevant, it will not happen.
Farah, you have a voice now. So we'll be really interested to submit your curriculum, what sort of content you have curriculum, so that we can also present as a report to the Parliament. This something is coming, so we need to protect our young ones. When they come to the system, they must have some sort of education on the type of media information available. So we will be, if as part of the presentation, if you can also give some context to the curriculum that you're planning, so we can make recommendation to the Parliament.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I just add on one more thing?
All right.
We are in a changing world and changing media landscape, and there has to be AI and robotics. Are we looking at artificial intelligence and robotics? Robotics in the sense of programming and computer programming. Back again, year 8 or year 7, and how can young children learn what is happening in robotics? It's happening all over the world. There is an increase in AI and machine learning. Skills needed in the workforce will be analytical thinking, innovation, complex problem solving, critical thinking, leadership, social influence, technology use, whatever. Okay. Artificial intelligence is growing. The economy projects a contribution of 13 trillion to the global economy by 2030. Is Papua New Guinea part of it? We need to prepare ourselves for the 4th industrial revolution, and we need to start with our children.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for a good presentation. Thank you. I'll require that document. I mean, my team will reach out for you, and also your context on developing a curriculum for media.
Yes.
At least in grade 6 or 8 or something, so that they can come out. Maybe ban media mobile phone from 8th grade up to 6 and then 7, and then you show them how to use it, and they can see.
It's not the question of banning, but it's understanding what is really happening, how are we being influenced. Like if I have a session with teachers and they realize that AI is programming and controlling their values, their backgrounds, their faith, their family, not positively, but destructively. All the best. Thank you very much.
Nala, thank you. You can sit while I'll take the next. Emmanuel, thank you. Like bito pasta mem no one pla assemble blame you or anything.
No.
Because you represent all the social influences like Tuliman and PNG Reels and all this. So some of the questions blongol and you answer them too.
Okay.
Okay, basically now that we learn from Farah and Tok law curriculum law, like social media is influence. What do you think? How also thinking also big play influence. Do you think children should also have a mobile phone to follow you on social media also? All children?
Definitely no. Under the age of 16, I wouldn't recommend.
You wouldn't recommend?
Because the social media right now is very dangerous. So I wouldn't recommend that.
That's from the top social media influencers.
Yeah.
No recommendation. Below 16, no social media.
No way. I think like maybe after uni probably fine, but everyone now has a phone, so we can't stop that.
So you would support a policy or some decision that we make to support to at least restrict mobile phones or something to children under the age of certain age, like 16 or 12 or something.
Definitely. I would stand behind that.
So that means the area you're trading on is a very dangerous field.
Yeah, it is. Just to add on since everything here I see is media freedom. From a social media standpoint, I kind of feel like Facebook's been shut down, which people don't know about. So I think a lot of people's voices are being taken away. A lot of big pages are being shadow banned. Like he mentioned, people are no longer telling stories under the tree anymore. Everyone's on social media. So it's been, me and my team have realized that since January come today, a lot of pages, it's unknown to the people, but I believe on the 30th of the January, Minister for ICT, sorry, let me just, I don't know,
Take your
I
time.
feel like someone chasing me, but
Take your time, take your time. We have
so,
all day.
so the 30th of January, Honorable Member of ICT been talking some, they have certain tools to shut down Facebook. Now, after that interview, Facebook has been declining in reach wise. So even if anyone posts anything, it could be any pages, your viewers won't see it, even your followers won't see it. And I feel like we are being suppressed, and it's really a violation of our human rights here. Media of freedom, media of speech, media to thoughts, freedom of speech and freedom of, yeah, I believe that suppression is currently happening right now.
Okay, thank you. I have noted, you, yeah, first secretary, so to the minister. So, are we being suppressed? The Facebook is suppressed, or what's happening?
Uh, Chairman, I have to be careful, so I'm not speaking as the representing the department. So, but I think the secretary was here, and thank you for the opportunity. There's a lot of work been done at the department, which is not made public. So, in the inquiry, I would suggest. I think they're coming back again to provide a paper also on the media freedom. I mean, the media development policy. There's a lot of, I'm hearing a lot of misleading talk on this industry, in this paper, so I would ask that you have a special time with the department to speak on that. It's a wide document, not only on freedom of media regulation, which I may say that there is no discussion on media regulation. There is discussion on strengthening media, the media self-regulation and all that. And it's going through a long vetting process. In fact, it's still going through now the Attorney General's office and under SLOS. So the legal eagles are looking at it now. So maybe you ask the secretary to come back again and talk more on that. On what he's saying on Facebook, from the inside, I don't see the department controlling Facebook. Facebook is controlled by Meta. But unless, like he said correctly, the department is monitoring. We have a cybercrime office, cyber monitoring office there. It's quite advanced, and people must know that you say something wrong against the law, people are watching. But they don't act until we have a cybercrime law there, which if they breach the cybercrime law, then this come into effect. So they're working together with police. So we have an office working together with police at the cybercrime office in our department. So, as a man masarim na sa don't break the law in terms in cyberspace. So.
Okay, thank you. I'll get the. I'll get you. Not that because.
Sorry,
I know you want
just,
to really
yeah.
respond, but no, I know that you not been. Have you been intimidated or you've been arrested or something like that
No, sir, no.
since your establishment?
No, not that I know.
So that means you are not breaking any law.
No, I just feel like people should be educated. Like put some media contents out there and on how to navigate the online world. And instead of like just slapping on the wrist, I think people should be educated instead of being intimidated. And that's which falls under the media freedom. So that's all I can say. We can't just tell people, "Oh, you might break the law." You do that's just intimidation and agency. I mean, people stone that mentality. I think you push when you push back. So I think the best way is just to educate people. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so you agree with the father's thoughts about having a curriculum for the for those students so that they can be educated also.
Yes, I do agree. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now let's talk about your platform, your media platform. So you understand because the inquiry is about misinformation, about the impact of
Yeah.
media. That means social media to the society and state and government. So you understand the difference between misinformation and disinformation. You understand?
Yep.
Okay. So you understand there's a new terminology now they're using calling information disorder. You you understand that?
I don't think I'll come across that one.
Okay. I will define it.
Okay,
I
thank
will
you.
define it, and I want you to classify which category are you in and which category are other influencers in. Okay. We'll leave you out and we'll talk about these two other social influencers, Toliman and PNG Reels. Okay, the classification for information disorder is there are there actually it means that sharing and spreading of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. That's basically when you do when they ask you about information disorder. That is when especially in social media, when you share misinformation or disinformation, when you share or create, when you share or create misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. All right. There are three categories of, there are three grading of this information disorder. The first category is when you just say, when you just say misinformation or disinformation or malinformation. When you just say, you're not the content creator, you just say, that's grade category grade 1. Okay, the second category is when you, second grade is when you create misinformation and you say. And that the outcome is not to just for your marketing purposes and for to make humorous comment or to like it's not that risky. It's not there's no disinformation in it. Just misinformation and some content creation, and you share it. And the third level is you create the content and you deliberately share it to have a political outcome or cause riot or something like that. So now that three grades are in. So can you grade which? Will you be able to grade your level in? Are you grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 3? Which area will you be fitting in?
Is that grade 4? Because sorry, but all three just sounds bad. But can I put it in my own way?
Just
So what we do is we get information from media outlets we're credible sources, and then we just do content on them, but we don't twist the truth or anything. We just report the news, but in a funnier way. That's basically it. So
Okay.
if someone's lying, then I'm not going to say anything apart from that. But yeah, that's basically what we do. Just get the information, and then we give it to the people in a way that they would really like to listen to the news or whatever that's going on.
Okay, so,
So, yeah.
you're not part of this grade.
No, I'm not. I'm basically a foreign entity from this grade.
Okay. Sorry,
Hope that answer
I
was
do
okay.
follow your speech, so sometimes maybe laugh or something.
Thank you. It's okay.
All right. Now, recently you come out on the media,
Yeah.
and there's an argument between you. There's some sort of going on between TV1 and your page. And so, is it something to do with freedom of information, or can you elaborate why you running a NRL channel on your page?
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Thank you for that. So what actually happened was that I was streaming NRL on our page, but I wasn't using any of I won't name the names, but their products or anything like that. But they thought that I was streaming off of their products, and then they hit me with a cease and desist, which didn't really bother me too. But I didn't know at the time, but then it kind of led into a bigger, it was a bigger can of worms, and that's when some other parties got involved. But it was all because of rugby being streamed. In the past, it was free on MTV, where people would watch it for free, and then MTV makes their money back by ad revenues. But since these certain people got the license for the broadcasting, you can't do certain things, so they just did a slap on the wrist, and yeah, it's under the bridge now.
So, are you being sued by this on this?
Oh, no, sorry. If I was making money from that stream, I would understand, and I would have definitely been sued. But uh, it's Facebook, and some of them I don't know. It's just all got the right law televising, so I understand now. It's not even a big of a deal, personally. Yeah.
Yeah, but to them, you see the bigger the deal to them.
Oh, it's a major deal for them because they have customers, millions of customers around the nation, and they thought I was getting all of their customers and stuff like that. It was a big deal for them, but as for me, some of my countrymen don't have TVs, and they can't afford certain plans that these people have, so it was kind of like a free service, but I think I was breaking the law in some degree. So
Okay, good
So,
one.
yeah.
Which law are you breaking?
I don't know. They said I'm breaking the law.
Okay, that's good. So, are you, from your perspective as a social media influencer, in some point of time, do you plan to monetize your page?
Thank you very much for that question. I think I would. This is definitely for ICT. They should actually look into monetization for Facebook in PNG, because unfortunately we are at the stage of monetization, but we're not eligible because our Papua New Guinea is not in the eligibility list. And we, if we can be eligible, that would mean so much to our people, because Meta pays a lot of money to people around the world. First world people are it's PNG wise. I don't think it's worth leaving your job over it, but over certain years, I think we should get there, and I think all platforms should be monetized. Yeah, in PNG, I definitely believe that all platforms should be monetized.
Is that is that issue affect your? What do you think? Is it affecting your role as a social influencer?
Um, Not really. I don't really do for the money, but it's just for some people who are, now that we are entering a really advanced technological era, I think it's best that these kind of things happen, and it would be beneficial to a lot of our people.
Okay. In terms of media freedom, PNG is, we don't have any restriction on media. I mean, do you think that's right? I mean, we have media freedom in PNG. What about social media platform? You think that's true in terms of?
I think that's true. Yeah. As for Facebook alone, there's thousands of pages that are spreading misinformation and a lot of gaslighting. So I think the powers that are now monitoring Facebook should really look into accounts that have no faces on them. We call them keyboard warriors and other names, but I'm not going to say it here. But I think they should actually monitor these kind of pages and shut them down, and just leave pages with credibilities. People that are, as long as you got a face to the page, I think you should keep it. But if it's a fake page, I think they should shut it down, because there's a lot of bullying that are happening. Women are being arrested, stuff like that. So I think they should really look into that as well.
Oh, that's good that you mentioned it. So,
Yeah.
what page should get the credibility? Just a face to the face, a page, but they can put another face and all this.
That's true. With IPA, I think that would be one of the ways to go about it. Just register yourselves on IPA, and then, as for us, like how these people found us when we were streaming the rugby or whatever. Sorry. I think it's best that a lot of pages like PNG Loop and MTV, those kind of pages. That's what I'm referring to. But other ones, I think, who have malintent should definitely be taken care of. I mean, deleted or yeah.
So, like you guys, social influence, should you form an association or something that, so that you can, because you're concerned about, are you concerned about misinformation and disinformation?
But definitely, I am concerned.
Okay,
Yes.
so would you be willing to form some sort of association where you can verify each other?
I think we can, but it's just people are busy, and with the current happenings, I don't think anyone wants to, like you said, sit around the tree and tell stories. So, but I probably look into it.
Yeah, because now that you have like over 200,000 followers,
Yes.
and do you feel responsible in any way?
I definitely do. That's why all my content, I make sure that they are foolproof, and no one comes and says, "Oh, Salom or something." But but yeah, it's we have to be careful what we put out, because some people are not technologically literate, so they get the news and then they get different ideas. So if I say water is out, they blame PNG Power and stuff like that. So I just have to be careful.
Okay, so you see, the mainstream media have a media council. They have a media council and they are self-regulating. They have code of ethics and they have a vetting process to publish their stories and articles and all this. So even though there is media freedom, they are self-regulating and they have their code of ethics and their vetting process in place, and they have the membership. Social media, we don't have that. So since you are a leading social media influencer, would such idea inspire you or something?
Regulation wise, like
Not in terms of the government coming in and regulating, but the industry itself, the social media industry itself.
Yeah.
In your peers,
Yeah.
would you be interested in such idea like this?
We actually do sit around talk about certain videos that we release before we release them. So it's like, oh, how would this affect people, and how would they take it? And we only post what we feel is the best people need to watch. And yeah, like,
That's for your page.
okay, sorry.
But other influencers also. Because what I'm saying is because the mainstream media have some sort of, because there is media freedom, but they're self-regulating.
Okay.
It's not that it's completely free. They just go publish anything. No, there's code of ethics. There's a vetting process before they do that. So I'm asking your group of people, would you be of any interest to have such sort of regulating with among yourself, not with the government coming and trying to regulate you guys, but among yourself? Would you care for such idea like this?
I think we should. Yeah, I think now I just understood your question. Sorry, I was nervous in Parliamentary. So, so yeah, I think I'll talk to Tuli and all the other boys, and then we probably set up a committee for ourselves, and then we'll do what you mentioned. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, good. So would that recommendation to Parliament be, because you are influencers, huh? So it concerns us because we don't want to come and create a law and tell that, oh, shut this guy down and all this. Like the mainstream media industry, they have self-regulating. If you have that if you are self-regulating, then it will be really good. Like the January 10. What do you think about January 10? Do you guys influence anything about the January 10 incident in POM?
Sorry, what happened January 10? Oh, the riots.
Yeah, they're right.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was somewhere else, but January 10 was definitely dark. I mean, some. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
No, what I'm concerned is like we are concerned that now that you have a very large following in terms of national risk and national security. We are concerned about it. That's the concern that most of us members or leaders having, because the experience is not with ourselves in January 10, and also with the other happenings across the world. So that's the concern. As a national leader, we are concerned about that. So the inquiry is to see how the industry is doing, because it is self-regulating. So we inquire into the mainstream media, and we understand their process, code of ethics, the vetting process of publishing. And now we brought you in because you're the main social influencer, and you have a large following. So So with that large following, should come sort of some responsibility in terms of influencing the mass public because it goes viral. Huh? So my question was, for January 10 incident not to repeat, would such committee form would be able to have that influence not only to promote your articles but also to promote peace and harmony also. So what do you think about the January 10? Did any of your influencers influence the flame of that dark Wednesday?
As for January 10, I think everyone who went and looted uneducated because they started posting photos of themselves after they were stealing. So police took care of them after that. But as for it to not happen again, I think we should do more awareness on that. And yeah, we haven't spoken about this yet, but I think I'm gonna talk to the boys and then we sit down and come up with something, and we definitely talk to you guys about it. I think it's time we start working together, and that will be really detrimental for us moving forward.
Yeah, good. Thank you. That's really good because then, you know, in the social media space, we have some self-regulation. We already have a self-regulation in the mainstream, but it would be good if we have some regulation in the social media space, especially in PNG, not to go and regulate those guys out in there, but in PNG.
It will be good for us to work together as a big media platform, content creators, and then you guys coming in. So that's, I think it will be a really wonderful partnership if it is to happen.
Good, thank you. That's will would you care to make a recommendation or some sort of after you go and meet with your peers and just write some one page or do a video or whatever, submit to the committee with regard to that part in terms of self-regulating your social media space.
I think it's best we do a video about it. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think anyone wants to read like pages and pages. Video is better, you can just chill and watch, and the message is right there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, it's fun a bit because that's good. All the time we strict. Sometimes we,
Chairman, if I may add,
yes.
I have a little Facebook page. I'm a football man, so soccer news. It's interesting this comment is coming up because, and it's good that they want to talk more about self-regulation.
Yes.
So because just recently I was referred to international football, for some commentary I made on football. Soccer people are not happy, so it is really an influencer, social influencer now. The social media, internet, and all that. So it's good. You may all one individual. Yes, we need to clamp down heavy on them. But groups, it's good that they come and self-regulate. So that's just my contribution on that. Chairman, if you may allow,
yes.
While given the opportunity, and with my background, I just want to say a little bit on media.
Thank you.
Just some years ago, I was the president of the Pacific Islands News Association, the regional media organization. After that, the new president, now the NBC managing director, they engaged me to do a regional review on media. And I must say that I will present that my report to PINA, to your committee also.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite interesting.
So sorry, I thought MD of NBC, Corono, is the rep to PINA.
He's the current president.
Oh, okay.
When I was MD NBC, I was the president.
Okay.
So after that, they engaged me to do a review. And it's interesting because the same things that we're talking about now is happening in the region. The need for serious review into media. I must say this, PNG enjoy freedom of media a lot. The rest of the Pacific, I don't think so, especially the smaller nations. There's government control. I think for us, Fiji, PNG, we enjoy some freedom. But I must also say that And as many of them have said, we are also self-regulating ourselves, which is a good way. And we are self-regulated by law also. And for Papua New Guinea, by culture. I must say this. A lot of people must be happy that the media has not revealed a lot because of our respect for leadership, because our respect, we Papua New Guinea, you may customer, you may a line blower, we got relatives and it's affecting our freedom. We respect people. So it does stop us from saying a lot. A lot of these journalists, we know a lot.
Culture is one of the challenges of freedom of media.
Yes. And I must say this, Planty Manga, Planty Mary, we don't report this. The Western media will report it. And that's the respect we have. We know, I must say that journalists, senior journalists, they are still around. Some of them, Frank Senge faced up yesterday. And you know, we self-regulate ourselves. Myself too. Sometimes I don't write news because of respect and the law. We are all aware of the law. The defamation law is there, the libel laws are there, and I think the journalist said this yesterday. So as we move into this review, all I must say is that we must strengthen the work of the media. Strengthen it in a way that I always say this, and some media people don't like it, but I always say this. We must be like the law society. We must be like the engineering society. We must be like the accountant society. They are protected by law. So we in the industry, we must accept that we must be protected by law. We are not. Anybody can come and do what they want with us. Especially the result of what MTV did, we must commend MTV. This Inside PNG. You know, they were heavily influenced. It's very unbecoming of those people who are responsible to do that to the media industry. That was influence that was not welcoming. It did impact on the freedom of the media. So I will strongly recommend that, and I think the Media Council is working around there. We have to be very careful about how it is done, about legislating to protect journalists. So nobody can just come and do what they want to journalists. We play a heavy role in the development of this country. And I always say that responsible journalism is also about investigating and revealing corruption. That's responsible journalism. If we hide what we know, that's not responsible journalism. Yeah. Our duty, our ethical duty is to expose, but we must expose with responsibility. That means investigating well, getting credible evidence that can stand in the court of law, and we report. That's our duty. And like Scott Wider, he will talk later today, said recently, if you're working to get a fortnight pay, you might as well get out of this job. It's something that's ethical, that's inside you. And maybe if we start from the maybe secondary,
Primary
national
school.
high school
Primary
level,
schools.
yeah, maybe something like that, that will help. I must say that unfortunately our media schools now, we have dropped standards. And I think it is a major influence in the outcomes of journalists now working in the field. We need to strengthen our journalism schools. If government needs to give in money, it must give in money. And I'm happy from the inside that they talk on the media review law to support the UPNG schools. UPNG is talking to the department on this, so all that. I will write my thinking on the TORs and give it in.
Yep. Especially especially the part you brought two perspectives to this inquiry. One is about the cultural impact of cultural that have impact on role of media. It's the challenges that it is enforced onto the freedom of media. Yeah, that's cultural impact, and then there are other perspective about the responsible reporting. You brought another perspective where you are also the journalists. You are also responsible to go and report, not to like report only for only reporting facts and all this, but you are also responsible to go and investigate and report. So that's a good part that we have not received comments so far on this one.
Yeah,
So
Chairman.
please, if you can
Yeah.
put context into that angle and submit as a submission to this committee.
It's about reporting the truth, nothing but the truth. And whilst we talk about which we must do, freedom to information, law, the ethical duty of we journalists is about investigating and getting the facts before writing it.
Yeah.
You know, there might be say NBC, we are radio and TV. So we don't have the time. So, but the prima facie, the facts must be before us before we decide to run it, and then we can get the response. So, Chairman, before I stop, I just want to say this bit on welfare. That's one part of restricting the work of journalists. Welfare and security. Before, when I was a young boy in this field, I think we had some freedom to. Now society has changed. I must tell you that young journalists will be scared to write investigative stories because of the threat to their children or threat to themselves. And are the employers looking at that? I don't think so. Maybe the establishment of a Media Workers Association that can push for this. Now, all young people are scared. They'll write this story, they'll come to your house and shoot you down or harass your children. That's restrictive on the freedom of media. So we must, people have to look review law, media law department now. I think they're looking at that side also on remuneration and the welfare of journalists, media people.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll write a lot. Finally, this is about professionalism. I'm one person that I don't like anybody to be called journalist. Some of us go to school to be a journalist. We go through ethical studies about our ethics and our conduct. So it shows up in what we write. Others, no. But they call themselves journalists also. So maybe in terms of the Media Council, we look at this in a registration of if what they're doing, who is the membership, who can be called a journalist. Like lawyers and engineers, nobody can be called a lawyer for nothing. And I feel offended when I'm sitting down and somebody on the street is called a journalist when I went to 4 years of school at the University of Papua New Guinea to graduate to be a journalist. So it's like something, it does affect on our quality of writing and outcome. So I want to something you may look at this land. Thank you. I'll do a lot in my writing to you people.
Senior, that's why I challenged the journalists yesterday. I say, did you ever ask who's responsible to create an association? You know, it comes back to you again as the lead MD of NBC for so long. Have you take charge to create a media association?
Oh yeah, we did many years ago under Frank Senge. I was part of the one of those first batch that they sent me to Canada for some workshop and media association. But the way we are, Chairman, people are journalists, we love to criticize other people.
Well, you are in the business of criticizing, right?
We don't love to criticize ourselves. Only when we meet is when a funeral service or and talk about things and nothing happens after that.
Okay, that will be part of the recommendation of the inquiry to make sure that you have media or what do you call it?
Media workers or
Media Workers Association or some sort. So that is also work of the committee. Will try to ensure that you self-regulating. So those are the things that's in place so that you can be self-regulating. I want to ask a last one question to Emmanuel. So, do you receive any threats or intimidation or something from the videos that you publish and all this?
Thank you for that question. A lot of times, yeah, definitely. We get messages like, "Oh, you must watch what you're saying. Stick to comedy," and And I just tell them, "Look, this is my country as well. So you're not gonna threaten me in my own backyard. So just do a backflip, and we'll talk about it later."
Do you report to police or some sort?
I don't think I should waste police time. They have better jobs to do. So we'll sort it out ourselves. They know where I live, so they can come say hello. I can cook. Make them coffee, and we can chill, wipe out and stuff like that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lupalgera. Thank you, Emmanuel, for coming up. Thank you, Farah. We will require from you is your the letter that you're reading from, plus information how can context of curriculum and how we can make recommendation to the education department of some sort. And from Emmanuel, it's like we expect from your end uh, your ideas, thoughts about self-regulating your social influences and how we can be, responsible. Uh, and in terms of forming a self-regulating environment in social media. And Sina, from you, is we expect your thoughts on this cultural influence in terms of freedom of media and also your association, Media Workers Association, all these things. Thank you. Farah, you want to say
No,
something?
just a word of thanks to you, to the chairman, to the committee for this forum, and definitely a word of thanks to all our media outlets. I send out quite a few articles. They never make the front page news, but at least they get information through. So thanks to both the audio, the visual, as well as the print media. Some of them are here. Thank you very much. God bless.
Father, you know what? I really get newspaper articles. We use social media for information, this news these days. But it happened that I picked up that national newspaper, and when I opened it, I saw your article. So I was really
Post
happy that I
Korea
connected.
National puts in,
Yeah.
Digicel puts in quite a few, MTV. Yeah.
But
Thank
it
you.
is something that has been discussed in the government caucus about how we can, because social media is having an influence now, so we need to train the young minds at the early age to be able to have the necessary skills in terms of, tell which is a propaganda, which is a misinformation, those sort of basic information so that knowledge, so that when they see the social media, they'll be able to tell, no, this is definitely a fake news, this is a misinformation. They'll be able to identify. Right now, it's like we may not be able. Thank you so much, guys.
Chairman,
you,
just
thank you.
one bit. You talk about government caucus, so I'll just say an experience. So, whilst many people blame the media, sometimes the government is responsible. And I'll tell an experience. Father will know. One day, many years ago, during the Bougainville crisis, the late Tohian, police commissioner, released a statement that Francis Ona was dead. What a mischievous disinformation came out from the government. They were just trying to, because Francis Ona and the PRA were in hiding, they couldn't find them, so they had to put it out. So it comes back to us, people are journalists too, that deliberate disinformation came out that Francis Ona was dead when he was not. So people like, I was in Arawa there, and now the minister, he was an NBC worker in Kieta. So we were blasted very badly by our bosses, news bosses at that time, for missing the story, when really he wasn't dead. So we had to find our way to confirm that he wasn't dead, and we did put it out that he was not dead, and government was misleading the people. In the end, my managing director then, Tony Boschi, got terminated. They put in a medical doctor who terminated me for telling the truth. So those are the things that time you meet all of government. That's why it will come in the freedom of information thing that government must take responsibility not to mislead and provide wrong information. So thank you.
Well, government will bring information to you and you will publish it. So you will decide.
Yes.
But we will want our stories to be published, but then you decide who to publish story. But anyway,
Correct,
thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we have just limited time. Sorry. Oh, it was 30 more minutes. Independent journalists and reporters, 15 minutes each. I think Scott will go to Leon in. How is Michael come? Anderson come. How will we get? I think Scott Imikolo, one of regional workshop now can come. Oh, he'll give his thoughts on that. Okay, now Belinda. Oh, you will. Oh, she's here. Please come take seat. Bible says your name, Lord. Titi. Alexander. Oh, you're Titi, yeah.
No, I'm Anna Solomon.
Okay, so you will. Okay, Belinda. Okay, I want all the space to be filled by journalists. Any journalists come and sit on this one. Any journalist, young reporter will do. Any young reporters. You will talk to finish no at all. Oh, you come sit down too, please. Yeah, come sit down. One question, let me ask you finish, then let me ask you. First one. Any young journalist, please take the seat. We want to know about what do you think about this. You coming? Later you'll be taking. So, one by young journalist. Any?
Thank you, Andrew.
Scott and Bakamona. Good. There's one more space here. Neville, please take the space. All right. Good. So it's you guys all read the terms of reference. You will read finish, huh? So okay. All right, good. Well, you may give time longer. Me ask you one question to solo news reporter blow one talk. Okay, so while waiting for him to come online, I have some questions that I forgot to ask you. Not some, but one question. With regard to, there used to be a paper, the investigative paper by One Talk newspaper. I think, is it Independence or something? Back in the days. Times. Times of PNG. Yeah, that one. What happened to it now?
I think you have two right people here to answer that question who were before me, as Anna Solomon and also Mr. Neville Choi, who were at the time was in publication. They were the leaders. So I think they would be the appropriate people to answer directly.
Okay, thank you. Please, Neville and.
Chairman, I would defer to Anna
Okay.
To speak, and I can probably support that.
Okay, Anna.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you. The Times of Papua New Guinea, I edited that paper. I was one of the editors. The reason why it is no longer around was because, running newspapers in this country, media organization, not just newspapers, is a very expensive exercise. The Times was part of the stable of newspapers from Word Publishing. Word Publishing is owned by the 4 mainline churches of Papua New Guinea. Okay, and the Times, its strength was investigative journalism. We had very good journalists who took the profession very seriously. We had a good setup in our newsroom that encouraged investigative journalism. And we had reporters there who did not fear anybody. They were prepared to go out, so long as they were able to stick to the ethics. They were well-trained reporters. We had a lot of threats. We had a lot of court cases taken against the newspaper. But if you know that what you did, the information that you collected was true, was fair, a well-balanced report that you wrote, the investigative was the truth, found the truth, you don't have to worry about anything. At least you know that when you go to court, your lawyers will be there to back you up, and you will come out as the winners. That was then, at the time, okay. We had problems from politicians, they were not too happy with the type of reporting or the type of investigation we were doing. And it was not just politicians, it was companies. The forestry is another good example. So we had serious reporting. We had the backers of the paper at that time, the churches, who were interested for the people to find out the story behind the story. Okay, we believe in presenting the news, not just the surface of it, answering the who, what, when, where, why, basic that we now see in the media today, but we wanted to dig deep behind if there was anything to find out. And that was the strength of that paper. Unfortunately, as I said, we could not sustain that paper. People moved on, they had families, they were worried about the bread and butter.
Welfare.
Church-run organization. We don't have that kind of money to pay what the other organizations, what the government or the public relations organizations can pay them. So we lost journalists. And again, it's not a surprise too. The media organization is one industry that has a very high turnover of reporters.
Okay, thank you. At least, so we know that's why, because it's unsustainable. That's why they died out. Okay. We also have there's a online investigative platform inside PNG Inside. You are aware of that?
I do not subscribe to the social media. I'm sorry, I'm a bit behind. Even the online, I'm a bit behind that. So, but I've heard that they are into that, and I commend them for that. Yeah. Yes.
They are doing online, but it would be good if they also do word publishing. I mean, printing paper straight, no man read him na. All can put him stuff behind, all rouse him, read him can kind of so. So that would be a good platform to revive. What do you think about reviving Times of PNG?
Well, if somebody has the money and they have the backing and they're prepared to get journalists who are not, who can go out and get that type of story, fine. But the country does need, the media organization does need that kind of reporting to balance just what we get, daily.
The ownership structure is good. The churches maintain the ownership, so definitely you will see fairness and all this in that terms of they won't be able to influence like MTV, PNG government, having influence and then coming in and want to stop a story or something. Because political powers, CEOs, whatever. And also you have the, like R8s, own the national newspaper. So there's some like connotation, that perception that they don't get the front page stories about logging and all this. The logging gets the second or fourth pages. And then the PNG News, the Post Korea. We don't know there's some influence or not, but it's a perception that there could be some influence. So a church, from a church organization that 4 churches owning a paper, that would be a really good place to revive it. That's my thoughts only. I'm sharing it while waiting for what's
Sure.
Scone Wider to come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's good, but being a weekly paper, we do